These my dollars make it hurt.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I really don't have a whole lot of time really just to be wasting and all that kind of stuff. I really don't have time. All I'm just gonna say is welcome to the Big Time Show. That's and when I say that, it brings electricity. I already know. To those that are coming on, listen, I don't have a lot of time because I have a power-packed show that is going on today, and we got a lot to talk about. I purposely have been quiet. I wanted to get all the facts. I knew that the weekend, by the time Saturday get here, which is now, I knew that I don't need no more information. I got everything I need to come talk about it now. And I just do not, I'm already just a little perturbed with my team. But see, when you do this type of stuff, you can't do it by yourself. You just can't. Because see, you need the whole family. Because remember what I told y'all last show. We're in rehab. I mean, this is the Cowboy rehab show. It's not the Big Time Show anymore. It's the Cowboy rehab, where we all got problems, where we all still in a state of shock. Like Mick Jagger and Michael Jackson said, we just in a state of shock right now because we still think we supposed to be playing. We still in Dallas. We ain't moved. We in quicksand. We ain't got out. And maybe my words are not good enough. Maybe not. I believe that's what it is. And so what I did today is my brother called me and we just said, look, we ain't got to do no, pre-talk. We ain't got to do all that kind of stuff. Just come on, let's talk. Cause see, we got to get through this thing together. And maybe if we just get together, maybe you can get together and maybe we can move on. Cause we got to move on, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, he needs no introduction. This is my guy. This is my guy. And we think alike. We talk alike. And this is why it's going to be good today. I'm looking forward to my brother I've been waiting for. He come. Needs no introduction. Here's the one and only. Amp Sports is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all know what time it is. Ain't nothing changed, man. Ain't nothing changed.
I love it.
All the smoke.
I'm telling you right now.
I'll take the smoke from Eagles, Giants, Commanders. I'll even take smoke from Cowboys.
Yeah.
So bring it, because guess what?
Yeah.
As Big Time so eloquently laid up, look, ladies and gentlemen, we are rehabbing. We are currently experiencing a catastrophic state of trauma. You know where I'm going. See, he said it. He said we thinking like we talking like, and he knew where I was going before I said it. So that means we on the same page. When two or three come together, Come on, y'all.
Stop me.
So it's some things out there that unfortunately we got to rip the band-aid off. We got to talk about it.
We got to talk.
We got to sit down on the couch.
We got to. We on the couch, and ain't too many people gonna help us. So we got to get this thing together. So as you come in, I hope that you guys will share. Hello to everybody that's here so far. I'll speak to you in just a second. Also, welcome to the family of Amp Sports, who's there in the building as well. Hello to everybody, wherever you're watching me from. Obviously, hello to the new family, which is the NGBN.TV network, the network that, that I'm just going to be honest with you, I really didn't need. I'm just telling y'all the truth. But the mission is so incredible that we're trying to do, man. We're trying to save lives between the age of men's lives in particular, between the ages of 40, 50, and 60 years old. As I told you before, the suicide rates are incredible, and for those ages. And if our little podcast show can take their mind away, you know what I'm saying? Just give them a little therapeutic like session, and maybe we'll say something good enough where they say, "Hey, when this guy coming on again?" And if they wait on me, guess what? They're here for a couple more days, and then we're here to entertain, we're here to inspire, we're here to uplift. This is just the sports division of the network. My show is not the only one. You already know, if you're on NGBN, we have shows that inspire you. We have shows that uplift you. We have spiritual shows. Just anything that will help the man and woman become better and make them think a little differently. So I hope that you guys do that. And since I'm there, let me go ahead and run this and let you know a little bit more about NGBN. And then me and Amp, we're coming right back.
Any longer. Men are in need of community, brotherhood, and a place to call home. The time is now, and that place is NGBN TV. Powered by men just like you, dedicated to launching a one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Our goal is to inspire, entertain, celebrate, educate, and support men. The NGBN TV sneak peek is launching January 29th. We need you on this journey with us. Ad rates at NGBN TV will never be this low again. So join our movement on NGBN.TV and contact us today. NGBN TV, a network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Coming January 29th.
So it's obvious you guys are still in the soft launch of the network. We just started this. We're live. We're live on, you can download it on Amazon, Fire TV, Roku, and of course you can download it on your phone now. If you have an Android, you can download it on your phone and watch it like you watch any other app. So as you can hear by the commercial, we're on a serious mission here. We're trying our best to do something rather than to just talk about it. We really want to be about it. So I hope you guys will consider partnering with us and just trying to do something for people. So I appreciate that. Amp, they didn't come here. They didn't come here to talk about, they come here to talk Cowboy talk. And
but you know what? Before we dive into it,
I figured you were gonna do that. Go ahead.
After hearing that intro and everything, I'm not quite 40 yet.
Yeah.
I'm on the north. I'm on the north side south side of 40. So, but it leads me to think, even in my own circle, I've got friends. We've been friends since high school, and we even have a Facebook group, a messenger group, and it's titled "Am I My Brother's Keeper?" Right. And we do that for a reason, and it's a wide mixture of young men, family men, husbands, fathers, but we do that also because there are a large portion of us are former military, and you never know what somebody's going through or what they're dealing with, so that's our way of checking in with one another, and it's also our place to vent as well. Hey, let it out. hey,
So,
maybe you're dealing with something I already dealt with. So, this thing is bigger than just you and me.
yeah.
It is a collective. And we don't want anybody to feel alone. So salute to you and the mission and the network as well.
Appreciate that, Amber. I'm quite sure we have some members of the NGBN community on here, or they will be. Um, it's serious business out here, and that's the only reason why I joined. I want to join for views, clicks, and all that. I already got those. I really want to make an impact the best way I can with the little mouth that I have. Just trying to help somebody. So that's what we're all about. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. Because it's so many places, to be honest with you, with the events of this week alone. we ain't got to the nitty gritty yet. Just this week alone. I mean,
I'm laughing, but I ain't laughing.
I could do at least 5 shows, man, just off 5 different topics, but we're gonna try to squeeze as much as we can in. And ma'am, you got an open door. Maybe you got to come back and we'll finish it out or whatever the case may be. But let's go ahead and start at the top.
Okay.
All right. So since he said the buck stops with him, and since he says he's the, he the alpha and the omega of the Dallas Cowboys, we might as well start with him. And the big thing that everybody kind of bit on this week was that word when he said, man, look, he said, we're going all in. And then he said, but that really wasn't the part of him. Everybody just focusing on all in. The major quote was that he's saying he's not preparing for the future. Right. So he doubled down really on, just in case folks wanted to have a question and say, what do you mean all in? Well, when you say something like, I'm not trying to worry about the future, I'm worried about right now. And I ain't heard from you. I don't know what you done said. I know you've been with Boss and all. I don't know what you done said. But just from my group, they done heard from me.
See, I hadn't been live since Green Bay. I've done a couple videos, but I ain't been live.
You in rehab.
So when I checked out, I kept my ear to the streets, but when I hear that, it brings me to, and I know some people don't like this, but I want to answer a question with a question.
Okay.
Were we not all in previously? Now, one might think, hey, what do we always say every year? The goal, the standard is what?
Win the Super Bowl.
Right? Mm-hmm. We don't talk about, we just hope we make our way into the playoffs. We took that test and we've mastered being able to get there. I think honestly and truthfully, if Dak hadn't gone down Mike McCarthy's first year, it probably would have been 4 seasons in a row.
Yeah, at least double-digit wins. At least. Yeah.
So, and the way Dak was cooking in the beginning of 2020, who knows? The only thing was the defense wasn't matching the offense, and it took Dan Quinn coming in, and we'll talk about that topic a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But, so again, I'm going back and I'm asking, are we not all in every year? So what you're telling me is you've acknowledged the fact that previously you've been putting up subpar efforts to achieve the ultimate goal. And to me, I have a problem with that, because not only are you playing with coaches, you're playing with players, you playing with the fans and our emotions, because Lord knows they tied all through this organization, especially after experiencing the drought. So honestly, to me, it seems like a PR move.
Bingo. And
it seems like an attempt to it seems like he's trying to rally the fan base, because there was a major outcry after not only just losing to Green Bay, but the manner we did it. And a lot of people had just really checked out and said, you know what? I can't stomach enough more of the Dallas Cowboys. You build me up, they come sit down, Jerry, Steven, and Mike, with their shades on and their brand new caps for the season, sitting at the podium at the table at Oxnard. Steven and Jerry do most of the talking. Mike sitting there smiling and grinning, feeling uncomfortable because he really would just rather get to ball. So you say something like, we're going all in. So then it makes you ask this question: are we going full throttle all in, or are we going Jones family all in, which we know ain't really all in? Big time. I'm gonna kick it back to you, man. You tell me what you think that meant, because
Well,
I'm
first of all, you said something when you first came on. You said that you have, even though you ain't done a show, you got your ears to the streets. All right. I'm gonna add to that and say that Jared done had his ear to the streets too. Because how would you come out and say exactly what the majority of the fan base has been saying since we lost to Green Bay? That's the first thing. I really believe that he had his ears to the streets. Now, I did a show, Amp, maybe the last one, or it was the previous one to that. And I asked the question, because I did my little year-end evaluation, and I was stuck with Jerry. I was going to do Mike McCarthy today, but once you came in the building, I said, no, we're just going to roll. I asked the question to everybody, and maybe some folks' answers have changed since the last time I was with everybody.
Okay.
My thing is, and I guess you can say I'm playing a little devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I'm saying, Amp, I did his based off the owner / GM. When it comes to the owner, his primary job is to bring revenue to the team. I think he gets an A+ in that, because I mean, you can't deny it. I mean, good Lord.
No.
He's excellent in that. But then we got to be real specific, Amp, about the GM spot. Because see, this goes all to the all-in part. As a GM, and maybe you got a different definition, as a GM, isn't it the GM's job to put the best product on the field? And the only reason why I brought that up, and you don't have to agree with me at all, when you look at this roster and you see all these all pros, man, all pros, 9 at the top. Now we've added some more all pros, of course, to the Pro Bowl, because a lot of people not playing. And so Jake Ferguson now is a Pro Bowl tight end now. And I think Tyler Smith, who should have been in the first place, so he's in. So we got, we had at least 17. Do you hear me, Amp? 17 players that are either Pro Bowl players or all pros.
Wow.
It ain't that many star positions on the field, Amp.
I mean, you got 22 on offense.
I mean, come on, man.
So that's your starters minus a handful of guys.
If you take away the kicker and the punter who are there, Amp, that's 15. You ain't got but 22 positions, man. So my question was to the base, did he do his job as a GM? Because you can't deny the talent roster. And keep in mind, Amp, every year, man, I know for at least the last, 6-7 years, what is the stigma? The Dallas Cowboys have the most talented roster in the NFL.
Now you're about to start another argument.
That's why I'm bringing you in.
So the question is, and I've even in my spare time, I've kind of penned this. Shout out to Coach Marv too. We've kind of talked about this and bounced this idea off of one another. Is talent everything? No,
I can answer that for you.
And apparently, right. It takes the perfect storm of coaching, scheme, talent, leadership, grit,
attitude,
all of that. It takes all of that. So yes, talent may be a large portion of of what sets you aside from everybody else. But if you just look at this season as a whole, there were times where we were head and shoulders above many teams talent wise. And guess what? The score would dictate and show that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there were times where you look at us versus Arizona, you can say head over shoulders, talent. We were far above them, right?
Yeah. But the grit
But
part,
the
grit and the attitude, we wasn't there. No.
and mindset,
You can say the same thing about the San Francisco game.
right?
Same thing.
But then when you get to the teams, and you know how we did it before the season even started. You know, we set those, if you will, benchmarks when we looked ahead at that schedule for the season, and we said, okay, we got San Fran, you know, concluding the first month of the season. A couple weeks after that, we got Philly, and then you know we can kind of maybe coast throughout the middle, and then toward that end is when it starts to ramp up, and that was the stretch of, you know, Buffalo, Detroit, Miami. You know, and you saw how we fared against those teams.
Yeah.
Philly started to implode, you know, toward the end of the season, and we got the better of them the second game. First game was a matter of inches to where we, you know. So when you look at us against teams that are equally talented, why is it that we can't close the deal? And so now you start to talk about those other things that make the perfect storm. And you also talk about the things that cost us an early exit in this year's playoffs. So yes, GM, you did make some good acquisitions. You know, I do appreciate the Cooks move. I do appreciate, you know, the Gilmore move, and that proved to be super helpful, especially once Diggs went down. So you look at all of these things and you're like, okay, they were moving, but to me, I've got to look holistically. I got to look whole picture, because when you lost Overshown at the beginning of the season, and then you cut some of our key linebackers,
cut all the linebackers,
and then LVE goes down midway through the season. Yeah. And you never really replaced. So at that point, I wasn't looking for top tier talent.
Yeah,
I just needed somebody to fill that role and do their job.
And
I felt like the former DC paired with management. You know, a lot of times, I think what happened is DQ started to believe, unfortunately, his own hype and being able to play musical chairs and put this guy here and put this guy there and replace this and replace that. And I believe he's probably went to management and said, you know what? I can make do. And honestly, that was a fault to his pride.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it. A lot of people say, hey, great individual, but your pride gets in the way sometimes, because a lot of times, and as men and talking about the show and the network, as men, we like to say, you know what? I got it. I can handle it. But what we really need to look at is there's no problem in saying you need help.
Yep.
Exactly. And Dan Quinn and our defense and our team needed help.
Love it. And as you can see in the chat right there, was one of my best friends there. Diehard Cowboy Marlon say Amp is right. And I agree 1,000% with Cowboy Marlon said. And I agree with Amp said. And so that is the part, ladies and gentlemen, is where Jerry failed as a GM, because it is his responsibility to put the team together. Jerry Jones ain't never had a team out there that didn't have no linebackers. What kind of sense do that make? I don't care if Quinn say, hey, I can handle it and we can run this little 6 DB set coming in. Jerry, no. It makes no logical sense that you didn't have no linebacker and you had safeties playing the linebacker position, getting swallowed up by linemen. That is the part where he failed. So he took care of one end by putting talent on the field. But when it comes to basic football knowledge and strategy, I think that's where he failed, which, of course, has led, and you said Dan Quinn, so I want to go ahead and shift. Well, I don't want to shift yet. Jerry I guess let's do this because the finger's been going everywhere. Who do you blame? And I know that the general answer is a good one, but who do you blame? I guess and it's hard because NFC East champions, 12 more wins to the add. But who do you blame for the total debacle against the Green Bay Packers? And I mean, it's everywhere, to be honest. I didn't realize that, but if you start with number one, even though everybody get a piece, who you starting with?
So when you say starting, are we talking about the largest percentage?
Yeah.
Or just
let's go large percentage.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why. When your child acts up in school, whose fault is it?
That's tough.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's tough.
You could say, well, the child acted up. I taught them better. They knew better, But there had to be some drop off between what it is that you shared with them versus what it is that they picked up. There's some missing link.
In other words, you can't start at the end result. You're saying it started somewhere else.
Started somewhere else.
Gotcha.
Especially when you look at, situations that have plagued us, I'll say, for the duration of this coaching tenure.
Okay.
Penalties have always been an issue. I mean, we talk about penalties every year. I mean, and I ain't talking about just all penalties, and I'm not talking about the competition type penalties where it's a judgment call. I'm talking about pre-snap freebies.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lack of focus. That's a lack of discipline. So, these guys have been playing football their whole lives. This coaching staff is not their first coaching staff.
Bingo.
They know the game. They know the rules. They know the general scheme. They know what their task is. They know what their reads are. So to me, honestly and truthfully, I'm going to put the bulk of this on the players. Because coach can coach a beautiful scheme. You can, and we comparing this again to the parent-child relationship. You can give them everything. You can give them all the tools, but they still got that thing called free will. It's on you. I gave you everything. I gave you the best I know how to give you. Ultimately, it is up to you to go out and do what you got to do. Because guess what? At the end of the day, it's man on man. You got to beat that man over there. So that means doing everything you got to legally within the rules of the game to get the job done. So it don't matter if the scheme may be out of whack, Micah Parsons. It don't matter if the play was called in or not, Micah Parsons. Because something that I recall seeing when Henny and Landlord and West Coast and Boss, when they interviewed, I believe it was Terrence Williams, he talked about the preparation that the guys did after practice, not with the rest of the team, for emergency situations. And we also know that Romo would go off script. If it was something that he truly did not believe in, he called his own shots. He lived and died with his own decision, not something that came from out the booth or on the sideline. So to me, honestly and truthfully, I got to put it on the players. That's debatable. I mean, the coaches are they ain't out of this either, because they are very close second. But you know what? I'm backtracking. Players are second.
Okay.
Coaches are a close third.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still putting it at management.
There you go.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me. At the end of the day, you are still responsible for the product. You acquired these players. You've done extensive research and scouting, like we getting ready to do now for this upcoming season. You know what makes a guy tick. You know what hinders a guy. And in a lot of instances, and something I want to see us get away from in 2024, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there in the atmosphere. I want players to be where their strength is. I know we like the versatility, and that's great in the event of, say, injury. But if we can help it, what a guy has been known to do, what is his bread and butter, that's where I want to see him. I don't want to see guys playing these alternate egos and doing these different types of roles. So, management, can we please make it our effort when we start trying to acquire these guys to help us, since we're going all in to me means putting a player where he's strongest. You got it, big time.
I'm just gonna say, cause everybody is a whole team organizational issue, and everything you said, Amp, as usual, is right. I'm just gonna say that at some point, see, for the last few years, I've always said this, Amp, and y'all, but everybody that knows me and been listening to me for the last 2-3 years, they've heard me say this too many times. We are a team, man, that the talent level, since we have it, has to override the front office and bad coaching or bad decisions. And since we have that, my question was at the Green Bay game was, why is everybody off? I get one person, but all them Pro Bowlers we just talked about, all them All Pros, everybody was off. Everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't get that. Not all 15 Pro Bowlers at the same time. And when you're off like that, you get your brains kicked in like we got in the first half. But nobody stepped up. And the players need to take some of that blame. But I've always said this too, Amp. When it comes to the draft process, Will does an outstanding job to me. He's more positive than negative to me. Right when training camp starts, that's where the problem begins.
Yeah.
It's not Will. If you want to give some credit to Steven, if you want to give something to Jerry, we have drafted well, I say in the last 8, 9, 10 years, whatever. But somewhere in between is that. And I'm really believing that when it comes to the coaching staff, that was a problem. That was a real problem. And somewhere in it's masked with the 12 wins. You see what I'm saying? The 12 wins, but see, underneath that, you can't deny what the record is. You are what you are. 13-15 against 500 players. 500 teams. 13-15 over his tenure as a head coach of the Cowboys. So there's a consistency there that says when the lights are the brightest, when the lights are, we ain't getting the job done. And I got a problem with that. So now, and I don't mean if you want to go back, Amp, you go with that because we just kind of flowing right now.
No, yeah.
So now, since both of us kind of say coaching is a part of it, Jerry Jones didn't fire him. He said, hey,
run it back.
Run it back again with the same head coach. Now, but see, underneath that, because a lot of the fan base want him gone, and I get it. But on the other side of the coin now, 36 wins. Good Lord. In 3 years now. No other team has it. We took over Kansas City, but we don't have the Kansas City result.
And no other team in the history of the NFL has had that many wins and not reached the conference championship at least in that time frame. So to me, that screams, see, the real problem is, and we hear this statement all the time. Yeah. Y'all know it.
Yeah.
We like what? We like our guys. You always hear them say that, right? But I think the problem is The problem with Cowboys management and scouting department is they have a type.
Mm-hmm.
You like guys who are going to be something similar to my employer,
Mm-hmm.
right? You like a certain type of individual, a type of individual who doesn't question directives, who carries out and executes to the T, that will say, "Sir, yes, sir." You want you a solid soldier. But the problem is, you shy away from alphas.
Mm.
You seek out the betas. The alphas that we had,
Mm.
you done got them up out of here. So when you have a situation like the playoffs,
Mm.
and unfortunately your team comes to the game, I won't say unprepared, but what I will say is not ready for the moment.
Mm.
Now you're seeking out a beta to start the fire, if you will.
Wow.
It don't work like that, ladies and gentlemen. It don't. So, because you've seen it. San Fran the first time, flat. San Fran the second time, flat.
Right.
Green Bay, flat. And even though eventually we got our act together and beat the brakes and put Tom Brady into a retirement,
Mhm.
we started out that game too.
Flat.
Flat. I think we was 3 and out. I think the first 2 series, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So you're starting to see a trend.
A consistent trend.
Consistent trend, and it's not just an occurrence. So to me, that says that's who we are, and that's who we are because it's the type of team you've constructed. You like to stay away from certain guys, and you see it, and this will kind of lead us into some of our other topics. But
Mhm.
when you start talking about acquiring free agents, etc. I remember end of the season, and I actually knew before it had even gotten out there, Dominican Sue was available.
Mhm.
And a lot of Cowboys fans, oh no, he's a problem. I don't want him on our team. We don't need him. We don't need that. It's gonna mess up the locker room.
Yeah. But he would have brought that swag, no doubt.
You know what's an even worse messed up locker room?
Mhm.
Is when you hear reports like Osa in the locker room after the game with his head down crying, and Aiden Durden is trying to console him for 30 minutes. That's a messed up locker room.
Yeah.
So I look, I don't care how we do it. I don't care what tactics we take. We have to change something to get this team to the next level. Because you've seen we've done things a certain way for so long. And big time, I'm about to tap into church for a little bit.
Come on in here.
But with some of our seasoned saints, when you have a congregation and you have a leader who wants to take the church in a different or an elevated direction, a lot of times it's the elders, it's the older folks who have been doing things for such a certain way for so long that they have a problem with letting go. God bless him, my grandfather. He helped, even in our light days, he helped hold our congregation together. I mean, almost practically footed the mortgage out of his own pocket in some instances. And then membership grew and we began to bounce back and we got a new pastor. And then when this leadership change shifted, as an older man, he didn't want to turn her loose.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you see with Steven. That's what you see with Jerry. They've been married and they've owned this team for the last 20 plus years.
30.
And at 30, and in a lot of instances, they don't want to let go.
Yeah.
And I think by not letting go, unfortunately, that is the crux of what is hurting this team.
So it's off the top of just listening at you. So if I listen to you, Amp, it's like it's almost like you don't care what the talent is. It's almost like you're saying because of the cloud, if you want to say it like this, the structure which represents the cloud. It's almost like you saying there's only so far that we'll be able to go. Because sooner or later, that cloud is going to hover over us. When you look at it,
yeah,
we always end up like in the same exact place where the season come crashing to a halt.
The correct term is a rut.
Oh,
but even if you just look at the core and the nucleus of this team, you can say for the most part they've been together for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. We've interchanged some parts here and there, but for the most part, your core, your key players have been a constant. We don't have a super high turnover rate. But what has been constant for the last 30 years is ownership and management. And when you start talking about science and looking at tests and looking at controls, and I was a science nerd, president of the physics physics class and science club.
Yeah.
The control has the most effect on your sample.
Yeah.
So if I can just get them just once to turn loose and let guys do what it is that you hired them to do, I'm curious to see what the results look like.
But my argument and pushback to you on him is this: the guys that you have in place. Are we talking coaching or are we talking talent? Which one are you talking right there?
So I was talking talent.
Okay. Because
your talent has honestly been there a little bit longer than this coaching staff. Because you look at Dak and, a lot of your D-Law, a lot of them, they've been here longer than what the coaches have. So you've had that same core, for about 5 or 6 years. But
my pushback is I don't think we can dismiss the coaching element out of it, because they're just doing what the scheme is taught to them to do. So I'm going to go ahead and say, and I agree with you, the talent got to do something. But I'm going to say that maybe there needs to be a total change, at least, I don't know, I want to say mindset of who's driving the car. That's what I'm saying. See, you can't ask for doggish type behavior when the coaches are little pussycats.
Look, I'm gonna say
See what I'm saying?
Look, so
I can't.
One group, one area. If you've got majority betas as your player base and core, you can't match that with beta coach.
There you go.
So you or vice versa, if you got a beta coach, you're gonna need some dogs on that field to compensate. But I feel like we're too beta across the board.
I want to say, can I use another word for your beta? Can I just say, when it all boils down to it, I believe that if you had to choose and say which way the seesaw is going, I say we're more finesse than tough.
See, now, that? Okay, guess what?
How about
when
that?
You said that? So, okay, let's talk philosophy now.
Okay, we want to go there?
2024, because you segued into it perfectly. So, to me, over the last couple of years, and I'll say since this current coaching regime has been in Dallas, to me, the way the team is constructed, we have been a finesse team. You let go of Rod Marinelli. He demanded a certain level of physicality, and he demanded a certain type of effort, right? Even when you look at Callahan, he demanded and coached and schemed a physical type of play with the running game. We paired that with, his last year here of them getting Ezekiel Elliott to say, hey, Romo is good, is great, because we were kind of finesse a little bit. We were throwing it all over, especially after the departure of Barber and, oh God, what's his name? Journeyman in the NFL running back. That split time with Zeke his first year. It's slipping me.
Was it Morris? Alfred Morris.
Yes. Alfred Morris, and he clipped what I think 1,000 yards his last
Yeah,
year.
when Zeke got hurt. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we've been finesse, and for me, because when you start talking about bringing in new coaches or trying to turn the table, or you're talking about your organization, one of your starting points, you're starting a business, etc., whatever, you got to have a vision for your team, but you also have to have a mission for your team.
Okay.
And so, to me, my mission, my mantra, it ain't nothing cute. It's not Greek of origin. It's pure English, and that's physicality. It's gotta be.
Got no choice.
It's no. When you look at the teams who made it further than us in the playoffs, what you saw demonstrated in most instances, the team that won was the most physical. And as much as we like to pump up and raise up Baltimore for what they did this season, in their loss, they got out physical. So,
here's the pushback. But you rehired Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
And his play calling, which and see, it's two sides to it. See, we can say that he didn't run the ball enough, but the other side of it is, whether y'all like it or not, Dak Prescott had his best season in his career, no question. See, the flip side that you say, well, he improved your quarterback. Everybody say you can't win without the quarterback, but here's the bottom line: it ain't good enough. It's not good enough to get you where you want to go. If Dak throws for 50 touchdowns and all you get is it just the first round, who cares? You know what I'm saying? And that's the point where we at. So when you start talking about that, I'm still saying this, Amp. And we're talking philosophy. I didn't see too much difference between McCarthy and Moore at the end of the day. It was a little bit more settled. I think it's a little bit better.
Ouch.
I'm just saying at the end of the day.
This therapy thing hurt, man.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it was like that. And so I don't think that coming in, and maybe you might get a little difference in McCarthy because, and we'll get into this a little bit later. In my opinion, and everybody else, y'all got your own opinion, everybody in the chat, I'm thinking a lame duck coach is walking. Because in order to get an extension or another contract, man, he's going to have to win big. Now, the definition is, what does win big really mean? I know what the fan base is saying, but what is Jerry saying about, because this performance this year will get him walked out the door next year. No question. It's no question. So I don't think what you're asking for, because he had 4 years to prove it, I don't think that you can depend on that, which now leads because see, offensively, same coordinator, same head coach, special teams, Bones is still there. But now let's transition. Now we got a hole. Dan Quinn is gone. Now you got to open it. And to me, Amp, the mentality that you're talking about, this is the only place where it's going to come from. I don't know if the offensive line coach is still, they're going to be there, Solely, whatever his name is. I believe he's still there. That ain't coming from the offense. Mike McCarthy going to throw that ball around like he crazy unless we get somebody that we're going to talk about a little bit later, which will change, to me, everything. But if he don't get one or two of these guys that I'm thinking about, we're going to do the same thing that we did last year. And you know that. He lied to us from the offseason. We're going to run the ball. We're going to pound the ball. Man, please.
Can we circle back to the question you posed when you were talking about what Jerry said? Because that made me think about something, the way you posed it just now.
Go ahead.
If, for the most part, because when he said that, at that point in time, we did not know we had a feeling, the idea, it was a possibility that Dan Quinn was going to be exiting stage left. But the consensus was that if he didn't find employment elsewhere, that he would be retained as your defensive coordinator for 2024. So if your coaching is the same, right? Obviously, Jerry and Steven are the constant that we talked about, right? If they are the same, right, and your coaching staff is the same, what does all in really mean?
Bingo.
So if you're saying all in, but your management team is the same, your coaches are the same, are you telling us? Because it could only mean one thing.
Only. And if it's not that, you wasting my time.
What you're telling me is that you're going to go all in on your acquisitions this offseason via free agency and the draft. Does that mean that you're going to take the handful of draft picks we got and you're going to attempt to get more? Or you're going to see us trade up and wheel and deal and do some things that we've seen some other teams, especially teams in our division, do to try and acquire those players that can be what we call game changers? Is that what you're telling me, Jerry Jones? Or are you gassing me up? Because if you're telling me you're going to get some real talent and you ain't thinking about, being fiscally sound and prudent in your finances, and you don't care about the checkbook being balanced. If that's what you're telling me, I have a problem with that.
Dude, put a pin in it and come back to it. Because we ain't got to the free agency part yet. That's the free agency part you talking about. Let's get to that. Now, here's my question though, and this is what I was going with the defense. Because I really believe that mentality you talking about, because Dan Quinn is more physical than Mike McCarthy was, to me. You can't argue with Coach Quinn's success. He built this defense, even though he phased out at the end there. But you can't deny top 10 defense since he took over every year. Can't deny it. He did his job from last to, the injuries, of course, even with the injuries. You got blamed.
Can I ask you a question while you're right there?
Go ahead.
To you, what do you feel is the most physical aspect of football?
The trenches. The line, offensive and defensive line. But before you go there,
put a bookmark there.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going. But here's the problem. This goes back to management, though, Amp. This has been a problem for the last 8 to 10 years. We ain't figured that out yet. We ain't figured out that part yet. Every year we got the same question: can we stop the run? Can we have some big boys up the middle? We've been saying this for the last 8 to 10 years. That's management. They got whatever the coach. Jason Garrett didn't have it. I'm saying it's the same thing. Rob Marinelli as a defensive player, coach, didn't have it. Consistency there. So that goes back to the management part. We ain't figured that part out yet. Bad draft picks, Taco Char, all these folks, man. Come on, man.
Reaching.
And then you put him inside. He too small. You want playmaking defensive tackles. Olsen, too small. Gallimore, too small. I mean, the list go on and on once you keep going.
Then we kind of get our hopes up thinking, now I understand, it does take a couple years for your D lineman, especially your interior D lineman, to kind of develop and mature to grown man status, if you will. So, excuse me. We get excited about Mozzie being a big body that may be able to provide, Hankins and them boys some relief, right? Pinch it, every now and then while you're learning and developing and growing into that grown man body. Yeah. And then toward the end of the season, we get reports that the man done lost 40 pounds.
What they stopped doing? Feeding him? What? I mean, you got all.
Was he fasting?
I mean, what is going on here? I know they cooking steaks and potatoes and greens and And what they tell them to stop eating? I don't know what
It's
else.
Texas. Look, I've been to Dallas several
I've
times.
been
The
there.
brisket out there is beautiful. You hear me?
All
No
kind of
disrespect to the
real.
Memphis barbecue, big time.
Yeah. Watch yourself.
But they no disrespect.
No,
But they do it well down there, man.
Yeah.
So why?
And they had to see him losing weight too. They had to see it, man. He lost too much.
Shoulder pads start falling
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Jersey look like a wide receiver. You know, come on, man. I don't get it.
Out here looking like Star Jones after a surgery. Come on, man. You can see the collarbone and all, dog.
Yeah. What do exactly? I don't know what the man is. I don't know if he was eating grapes and peanut butter crackers. I don't know whatever he was doing.
It definitely wasn't peanut butter.
You know?
And it definitely wasn't the chunky kind if he was. He probably was eating Nutella. That's what it was.
And then everybody kept asking, where's Margie Smith at? Shoot, he ain't on the field. He can't play. He ain't nowhere to be found. He getting pushed around.
He's half the man he was when he started.
He had the man when he came. Come on, man. I don't get it. But hold on. Help. See, I can't see. This is what rehab is all about, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about it, and we're gonna get to solutions, y'all. We're gonna stop complaining, and if you want to call it that, we just wanted to point it out before we shift to what we need to do. All right. So here's the question, Amp, and I'm gonna go to another commercial. I'm gonna give you a little time to think about this one. Cause see, this is where the fun for the begin before we really shift. I say that we need the physicality part. Because really that's what you want on defense anyway. I believe this next hire is going to be huge. But here's the problem though, Amp. And a lot of people got all these names. Everybody talking about Vrabel. Everybody talking about Zimmer. Everybody talking about Ron Rivera. Everybody talking about these folks. Let me ask you this question, Amp, and don't answer it now. I'm gonna do this commercial, and then I'm gonna let you out the cage. You're going to have to be real smart because what coach is going to latch up with a lame duck coach? You're coming for 1 year, possibly. The big name guys ain't coming back to coaching just for 1 year unless they just desperate for a job and say, we're going to roll the dice with Mike McCarthy. And that very well may be.
That's the word.
What Zimmer and maybe Rivera may come into play. But there's no real future in there. Because see, if Mike McCarthy gone, guess what we're going to be at next year? Right here in this same spot, saying who's our new coach? Who's our new defensive coordinator? Who's our new D-line coach? Who's our new secondary coach? You see what I'm saying? What coach really is going to sign up for that? I know everybody wants Zimmer and everybody talking about that. And some folks you thought Belichick, and y'all know better. Belichick want power. He ain't coming back to be no coordinator. Are y'all crazy? Come on now.
So Erykah Badu so eloquently sang back in the 90s. See, that's the other side of the game.
Ooh.
Leave it right there, big time.
Yeah, leave it right there. Who's gonna latch on to that for that? So, Amp, don't say nothing else. Let me get to this part here. With this commercial from our sponsor, I got a new sponsor for the show, Magnificent Hands Massage Parlor. Be just in time for your Valentine's Day. He does couple massages. You'll see it here. There's no sound to this video, but just watch it. If you're interested, pay particularly close to the end of the thing so you can get the number, and I'll put it up here again. But this is from our sponsor, Magnificent Hands. Ladies and gentlemen, no sound on that, but you can see, and there it is right there at the bottom of the screen. If you want to do that, perfect time. You want them an easy Valentine's Day gift when you ain't got to work hard. You just go on, pay for your date. Go ahead and put them in the massage parlor. Trust me, you'll be good. Great gentleman there, Anthony Cochran, a licensed massage therapist. This is primarily going to be for those of you that live close in the Memphis area. He will travel to Mississippi and maybe even Arkansas as well. But 901-607-1527. That is how you get in touch with it. Use the code BIGTIME20. Big Time 20 for a special discount off of what it is. Again, Magnificent Hands, one of the best in the city, a great growing business, who's now partnered with the Big Time Show, and I appreciate it for him for being my first sponsor. So I appreciate that. Hope you guys will give him a call right in time for Valentine's Day. Again, call him there, Magnificent Hands, 901-607-1527. Now, let's get back to it, because I know I just hit a home run with the question I just asked my brother, Amp, and I appreciated him so much for hanging with the old boy today. And I got to think about it. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I don't want. I mean, what kind of contract you gonna get? You ain't getting no 2-3 year contract.
Nope.
The head coach ain't got the head coach ain't got nothing.
And it's not going to be the equivalent of a franchise tag for a coach, if you will. You know, they're not going to give a high dollar amount for 1 year.
That's the real question.
Your head coach already getting underpaid. I mean, if your head coach is getting underpaid, what do you think you going to get coming in here in a one and done situation, if you will? So,
what person I'm saying, unless they are,
you are absolutely desperate if you take it. But you know what? See, it's almost like, again, I'm going back to that type. A lot of times in free agency, you've seen us go after guys who are attempting to resurrect their career, if you will. Maybe things didn't work out at their last location. You know, so you got somebody who's coming in here humbled. You've got somebody who is coming in here that is not looking for a lot of money and is going to work their tails off to put the best product, best game, best performance out there in the hopes that, hey, maybe I'll make myself right for my next mate. And what you're going to see is that very same thing, very same principle process, if you will, for the coach hire. They ain't trying to. So that's why you can cancel Belichick. That's why you can cancel Vrabel. That's honestly probably why you'll be able to cancel Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
Them dudes ain't got low self-esteem.
No.
They can get a date to the dance.
Yeah.
So, and you, again, the type. If it's not a young, unknown coach in the NFL on another roster,
you got to be minded.
What it's probably going to be is one of these young coordinators in the collegiate realm who don't know no better, who's just happy he's getting the opportunity. Oh, I'm getting called up. Throwing it back to the name of the show. I'm going big time. I'm going to the league. Mama, I done made it. You're going to get somebody like that. Somebody gullible and somebody desperate. And unfortunately, a young coach, because a lot of people, unfortunately, to our fault, are saying they don't want an old coach. You see that a lot. So guess what? The same way you said, Jerry said, hey, guess what? We going all in. Why did he say that? Because that's what we said we wanted, right? Guess what? If the vast majority of the fan base is saying, I don't want old man River coming in here and coaching the team, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get a young, gullible, desperate young coach who nobody probably has ever heard of. Probably somebody from Texas Tech or Texas or something like. They may get one of those guys, local, homegrown. You know how they do, and bring them up and say, "Now's your chance."
Or you just go ahead and hire within. And that's where Al Harris' name pops up in the play.
I don't even know if that's going to be an option.
I don't think he's going with Quinn. Now, Witt just signed yesterday to go, or committed to go to Washington.
Did he?
Yes, Joe Witt. He just left and he signed with Washington. With he
Did
took
not
him.
even know that.
And today, from the offensive side, he's trying to lure in Cliff Kingsbury for his OC. So Al Harris is there, and keep this in mind. And I don't know if you saw it. The players have put in their confidence to Al Harris, in particular, Trayvon Diggs. Because you see,
boy, you done hit me with one. I didn't know Witt was officially gone.
He gone. He did just yesterday. So here's what I'm saying. Check it out. And no knock against Al. I like what he's done for the defensive back, but I'm not saying he can't coordinate, but there's no track record for it. I'm not saying he can't do it because you got people in, like somebody just said in the chat, that that Glenn from Detroit, he ain't never done it either. But now you see he's considered one of the best coordinators, Aaron Glenn from Detroit. One of the best defensive coordinators in the game. But what I'm saying is, it goes back to what I said, though, him. See, even if you go young and if you go old, here's my thing, and it's simple. Why would you leave stability for instability? Do you see what I'm saying? If I'm a college coach and the college, I'm secure in the building, I'm cool with it and all that, but why would I latch myself up to a coach that pretty much has to make, they got to make the Super Bowl for him to really keep his job? And I'm not sure anybody would really want to, I don't want to be looking for another job next year. I want to be stable if I got to leave college.
I'm going to tell you what it is. A young coach is going to look at, I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. This is what they're going to mess up. They're going to look at that talent. Mm-hmm. They look at that talent, they're going to say, man, I could do so many things with those guys.
Yeah, I got Parsons. Good Lord.
Yeah, I got Parsons. I got Diggs. I got
Bland
on the side. Got Bland on the other side, and some solid safeties. Man, I could make some things happen with that.
Yeah. But y'all see why I love my brother right here. I told y'all we talking like, come on in.
But as we stated earlier, that ain't everything. It takes a whole lot more to be able to cultivate this thing, if you will. And honestly, you know how guys are.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes in who is outside of the building, you're going to face some resistance initially.
Unless you got a big name. One that come with somewhat of a track record.
Yeah.
And there's only one. And I don't know if you saw this, Amp. They've already put out. They already put out that Zimmer is getting he's meeting with the Cowboys next week.
Yeah, he's interested. And I mean, to me, he's got you got a familiarity there with the organization. He does preach and demand a physical style of play. And
he stops to run. He stops to run.
And that's a glaring issue we've had, and to me, and I'm gonna give credit to Boss for this. He said, look, I talked to him, I think yesterday. He said, look, he experienced coaching changes throughout his collegiate career. He said, look, a coach teach you one thing in your freshman year, Your junior year, you get another coach. You're not gonna forget what that coach taught you that freshman year. So everything DQ has instilled in them, it's there. It's inputted. That's their foundation. They've spent the core of the beginning of their career with that man.
Mhm.
So whether he's here or not, his imprint is still gonna be on this team.
Yes.
Hell, we saw that in our Super Bowl years.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson exited stage left.
Yeah.
And Barry Switzer came in here. What he did?
Same
He just
thing.
said, "Okay, I'm carry over."
Yeah.
You know, he really ain't had to do a whole lot of work because the labor had already been put in. The mindset had already been put in. A team of mental toughness, a team of grit, not just talent. So, I don't
What-
have
what-
I
what
don't
are-
have the type as far as a coach.
What are you not feeling? Because I believe that it is going to be Zimmer. What are you not feeling about Zimmer? Because I can tell the trepidation in your voice, man. You ain't fooling me. I can see it. What is the problem?
Honestly, I think as good as his track record says he is, to me, I don't know, it could be wrong. I think he may have been out of the game too long.
Okay. He was with Colorado with Dion, but he was more of an advisory role last year, but not actually calling the defense. He probably was in there just
It's been
film
about 2
study.
years since he's done that.
On the sideline. Okay.
So I think because Mike called plays this year, but he had a couple of years to kind of get acclimated before he took that rollover. I think if Mike had took that the first year he came in, I think he would have got exposed because he could say, "Oh man, we were in the basement and we were looking at film," which
So you're really saying that you think that it's a possibility that the game has outran him.
possibly.
Okay.
So I'm not saying what most people are saying. I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want somebody who has a pulse of where the league is currently.
Immediate impact. Gotcha. I feel it.
I don't need you trying to figure it out up until the bye week, or cats are throwing you for a loop and because guess what? A lot of times we talk about rookies coming into the league, and what's the biggest thing they say is the biggest adjustment from going to college to the pros? They say, man, the speed of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That goes for coaching too.
Yeah.
So I think him being out, I know he probably was watching football every Sunday. I get it. And I'm not saying he's not in tune to it just could be a possibility. It's a little bit different. It takes you don't forget how to coach. You don't forget how to scheme.
Yeah.
But to just see the newness of the NFL as it has evolved over these last 2 years, I think initially it could pose
a potential problem.
Potential difficulty for him starting out. And the thing about it is, you saw last year, every game was crucial. How many times we kept saying, man, that Arizona game, boy, if we had took care of that, man, we'd be sitting pretty right now, man. We have the number 1 seed. Every game is important.
See, this is what I'm going to say about that. And I'll come from the opposite direction. Not that I don't agree with you, because I do feel you on that, and I think there's a lot of truth to what you just said about it. But my thing is this: if you're going to bring Zimmer in and you trust his resume, that's the only reason why you're hiring him.
Yep.
It's because of his resume of his defenses.
Absolutely.
Then you're going to have to let him have the players that he needs in order to make it work, which once again now goes back to the front office. You see what I'm saying? Everything kind of
and it goes back to the philosophy.
See what I'm saying? So in order to make him work, you got to give him the tools that he needs.
So I'm gonna break this right here. We touched on philosophy a little bit earlier. To me, my philosophy for our team, because when you looking at what we have, you're only going to be able to replace about 30% of your team. And that's usually the turnover every season. So you're still going to have your core. So to me, when you look at our team and you look on offense and you look on defense, to me, One strength that is unanimous across this team is speed.
Yeah, we loaded with
Now, you pair that with our area of weakness and the lack of physicality.
There you go.
I want our mission, vision, strategy, tactic, mantra, whatever you want to call it for the 2024 season. And it's going to sound cheesy because it's not completely original, but I want to see my team be fast and furious.
You can't pull it though, Amp. You can't pull it if the one that's driving the car don't really have it in him. And I'm talking about coaches. I'll clap myself for that one. You see, which goes back again now to what you said at the beginning. Physicality. When you're finesse begat finesse. Physical, but that's why I said when it comes to Bones, who I love in special teams, I ain't worried about him. When it comes to McCarthy, we already know what he is. Physical and finesse. I mean, physical and McCarthy don't match well together. We see that.
Bones put a defensive end at gunner, and he was getting down there.
On the field. See what I'm saying?
That is not a problem.
Okay, so
we need to be able to bring that fury. Now, let me ask you this. Since we're talking about Zimmer, right?
Uh-huh.
The resume. Do you believe he has the cachet to potentially get the Jones to get the players that he needs to make this defense what it needs to be? That's the $1 million question.
The last thing that the coach that I had that pull was the one that just left. They gave Quinn pretty much what he wanted on there. Previous to that,
yeah,
Marinelli didn't get it.
He did. He definitely.
I mean, Mike Nolan sure enough didn't get it. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. You know, will they get out of the way? And that leads now, because I know some of y'all upset. Well, first of all, before we transition, and I know we ain't through, because we can talk about this all day. I need everybody in here to grab your phones right now. Push that like button. Push it. I need every individual to, at least, if you're on YouTube, push that heart button. I need at least 10 to 12 hearts and likes from all of y'all right now. If you're on Amp's channels, please hit that real quick. If you're on my channels, hit that real quick. This sends messages to the algorithm saying, hey, these folks down here, whoever they are, they talking about something, so we're going to suggest their shows to other people, places that we haven't been before. So please hit that. Support us on this real quick. It ain't going to take you about 3 seconds if you just smash it. Just smash it just like this. And that's all you got to do, and that don't charge you anything. That's free. It just take a little thumb exercise. Half of us out of shape in the first place. Get your thumbs right. just touch it. Now, let's get back to it. Let's transition, Amp.
Okay.
Because we did win 12 games. Won the year before, we won it that year. My opinion is we're not as far away as people think. We are hurting, and it make us seem like we at ground zero. I don't think so. I don't think we're that far away. We need things that is going to put us over the hump. Let me go ahead and eliminate something right now. Because you got 15 to 17 Pro Bowls, because you had 9 All-Pros, please don't come to me. I'm sorry, and I realize you got the draft. I understand. But the draft and development system has been working, and we tried it for too long. And yes, it produced players. Yes, it produced Pro Bowls. Yes, in some cases, it produced All-Pros. But when the money is on the line, it hadn't produced what we really want, and that is to get far in the playoffs and, yes, a World Championship. It has not done it. We've done it. The thing that we have avoided is free agency. Now, somebody in here gonna say, well, we got free agents all the time. I ain't talking about no day 4 free agents where we get the guys that work at Kroger's and Pick Pack and flea market places, right? You know, I ain't talking about those guys. I'm talking about the thing that the Cowboys do not do, and that is day 1 and day 2 free agency. Those are the players, in my view, that will get you over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't come to me talking about, well, we got to pay Dak. We got to pay this person. I don't want to hear that. I see everybody other team figure out ways to put all these over the hump type players on their team while paying the quarterback. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Day 1 and day 2, if we're all in, I'm going back to AMP now. I need a definition because, see, the Cowboys version of all in and the fan base version of all in are 2 different things. If you talking about give me a whole bunch of depth, I don't want to hear that from Stephen Jones this year. We tried the depth way. You're going to have to get over the hump because at some point, AMP, this little run is getting ready to end. You getting ready to lose Tyron Smith, and if you
Zach
you're
Martin.
ready to lose Zach Martin, you finna lose all these. Yeah, you finna lose some of these guys for good, and you gonna have to bust this thing up, and you got to
even some of your younger guys, just because of contracts might not be here. J-Ron Curse, we probably seen him play his last game in a Cowboy uniform.
Exactly. So
Tony Pollard, as much as I appreciate what he brought to the team, I'm not talking about what he did or he didn't do, but just because of the contract and the way negotiations went, and you couldn't establish a long-term deal with him, and you decided to pay him $10 million all up front last year, guess what? He's probably not a Cowboy any longer.
So my point is, if y'all in and you just need 1 to maybe 2 players that are game-changing type dudes, I'll start it off here. There are 3 running backs that are available, and we're going to have to get into a bidding war. But Josh Jacobs is available. Austin Eckler is probably going to be available. Saquon Barkley is going to be available. And the one and only, Mr. Derrick Henry, is going to be available. Now, let me just go ahead and say this. If you get Derrick Henry solves a lot of your problems that me and Amp been talking about. Physical, productive, if he's healthy, smash mouth, it will change the philosophy tremendously because you got to run him. You got to get somebody like that the defensive coordinator will have to pull guys down because you're not going to let Derrick Henry run in a 7-man box. He ain't never seen it. When he was at Alabama, he ain't never seen it. Usually Derrick Henry brings him not even at the point of his career where he is now. He still sees 8-9-man boxes. What does that do? That means CD is one-on-one. If you go with Brandon Cooks next year, he one-on-one. Jake Ferguson is one-on-one. He saw a time of possession. Derrick Henry helped you in that department. Red zone. Derrick Henry is a killer in the red zone. As far as you ain't got to try to find who my short yardage back is. Derrick Henry solves a lot of problems that goes over the coaching staff and the front office. You got to get a guy like Josh Jacobs is like that. Josh is good. Just like that. Saquon is almost a better version of a Tony Pollard, plus he stay hurt. I ain't just too sold
big
on
time. Let's fast forward to the end. When you saw Dak in this offense, this high octane offense, if you will, when you saw them be reduced, what was it that defenses were doing? It was like what we saw at Green Bay. It was like what we saw at San Fran. You rush 4 and you drop 7. And say, hey, beat us.
Yeah.
Beat us.
Yeah. Derrick Henry changes all that.
Did teams fear? And no shade whatsoever. But we talking about what we talking about. Do teams fear Tony Pollard?
No.
Did teams fear him this year? No.
No.
Did teams fear Hunter Luke?
No.
Did teams fear
Rico.
Malik or
No.
Rico? Hell,
And
did they fear CeeDee Lamb in the backfield? No.
They showed him for Deuce Vaughn. They showed him for Deuce Vaughn. I mean,
The
they tried to
Cowboys
kill
ain't
him.
feared him.
Yeah, yeah. Come on now. They tried to kill that man.
So if you don't fear it, you don't respect it, you don't check it.
Yeah. This is what we're talking about.
If you look at, a lot of people want to look at, Dak Prescott's best year and debating and stuff like that. I want to talk about Dak Prescott's best playoff performance. And to me, even in a loss, that was his rookie year against Green Bay. He had his highest passer rating of any playoff game in the Green Bay game. And you might look at it and say, well, what was different about that year? He had a fresh, young, hungry running back. And he had a solid, healthy offensive line who could move people off the ball. We were physical that year. A lot of Dak's early criticism was because he didn't have to do it all. Oh, he just danking and dunking. Yeah. Because teams respected
the running game,
being able to turn around and do this.
Bingo, which is where I was going with, Amp. You get a Derrick Henry that pulls Dak out that shotgun automatically.
I'm so sick of the shotgun.
It ain't no run option with Derrick Henry. Look, it also opens up a whole new formation, Amp. It says, I know you know the game. It opens up a formation that we really didn't run or take advantage of. That's the 2 tight end and 3 tight end.
21.
Come on, man. You put Derrick Henry there,
12.
and you line up they big boys there. It's going to be some problems, even if Dak play action off that. We just ain't do it because we didn't have no running game. Instead, we was in the shotgun all the time. Run up the middle with Pollard. That's all it was.
I absolutely hate is a strong word. I absolutely, and I've been saying this for about the last 3 years. I absolutely hate shotgun handoffs. I hate it with a burning passion because I'm gonna give it to you this way, right? It's real simple if you look at it on the surface. When you're in an I formation, your running back is behind you. Even if you're in a single back, even without the fullback, even if you just single back, that running back has an opportunity to gain some momentum and a little steam before he approaches the line of scrimmage. When you do a shotgun handoff and you turn around and say, here you go, here we go. When you give it to that running back, he now has the ball in his hands. He is a target, but now he has to generate that momentum. And a lot of times what you see is individuals and running backs who run behind that line have less success. Why? Because of less momentum. So it's taking you longer now to get to the line of scrimmage. So now your blocks aren't holding up quite as good because it's taking you longer to get there. And you're incurring contact much sooner than what you should. Versus you get a step on your D-line, or you can make it to that second level without being touched. Now we get to see you do what you do. Now we get to see Tony Pollard embarrass somebody in space. Now we get to see Zeke make somebody miss in space. They say Zeke lost a step, and that may have been true, but a lot of that was the scheme, the philosophy of how we ran the ball.
Bingo. Let me add to that. And what Amp just said was what I consider maybe the technical side of a shotgun. I can make it even more simple, just to add to what he said. See, the read option stuff works only when your quarterback runs the ball. Dak's run, since everybody was so excited about his legs, when he scrambled. It wasn't what the read up. If you got a Lamar Jackson.
Church out.
Look, if you got a Lamar Jackson, guess what? The shotgun run works because Lamar will pull it down and he'll go. It works for even a Kyler Murray.
It makes you hesitate.
It's going to make you hesitate. Ain't nobody hesitating with Dak back there because he ain't faking nothing. He ain't going nowhere. You see what I'm saying? That's when it works. When was Dak really the best? Yeah, everybody talking about this year, and he did have a great year. MVP-like year. But really when he was with the best? When he handed that ball off to Ezekiel Elliott when Ezekiel was running. when he was a single back under center. Go ahead, the play action game worked in. That's why a Derrick Henry makes a lot of sense. But as we said earlier, and this was a name that we haven't used, Amp. This is when Stephen Jones come into the picture. See what I'm saying? See, I know it. See, this is when he comes with that cheap checkbook that he believes in and his philosophy. We're going to get this guy, but we got to get him at this pace. Now, keep in mind, the Dallas Cowboys probably won't be the only team that wants a Derrick Henry. We know that. Josh Jacobs, whatever name you throw up, they won't be the only one. You're going to have to get a bid in one. I thought you all in.
Right guy.
You got to have the right guy.
At the right price.
That ain't going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. Look, we done tried the if you want to be the salary cap champion of the world, you have won that back to back.
Undisputed.
Undisputed. No question. You are that guy. If that's what you wanted now, you got it. But it ain't got you nowhere. Somebody gonna have to make them on day one or day two. Bring these guys into your building and here, watch this Amp, and don't let them out of the building. This is what we had. This is what the problem has been. You're going to have to get that guy for all that. Defensively, go ahead.
Can I ask you a quick question? Who said we're going all in?
Jerry said that.
Did Steven say that?
Steven ain't saying nothing, man. He had an interview at the well, yes, he did. And you know what? I should have had it up here. At the Senior Bowl. At the Senior Bowl, he kind of echoed what Jerry said.
Did he?
Well, slightly. I just looked at him and said, hey, man, be quiet. We already know how you going to act. We know how you going to act. You're allergic to guys that we're talking about. That's why I say, what
you
is
know who Stephen Jones is?
The salary cap champion of the world.
He's the daddy off of Everybody Hates Chris. $2? He the daddy. Yeah, that's him. That is Stephen Jones.
Stephen Jones shops free agency on day 4 or day 5. They set us up every year. We be seeing these guys go from left to right, and we say, please do something. Somebody do something. And then they go ahead and get about 3-4 guys on day 4.
I know Jerry has constructed a deal with, I believe it's Netflix, and he's got a documentary coming out. Mm-hmm. But I believe our very next non-game, non-football TV appearance is either going to be on TLC or HGTV.
Wow.
How to thrift your way through the NFL.
Flea market shopping.
Flea market football.
That's
what it is.
That's what it, and that's the consistent pattern.
Because you're basing your decisions off of dollars and cents instead of X's and O's.
Bingo. And then
I'm gonna give credit to you, and you've seen it. You've seen it on Twitter and all of the other social platforms. But this gentleman who is I call him Coach Marv.
Yeah, Coach Marv.
He has been pushing this movement. It has to be about football first.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly believe him because, we've seen the team excel in all these other avenues, but we have not seen them excel since our glory days of football being first. When you used to talk about the Dallas Cowboys historically, you talked about a franchise who was innovative. When we hear about innovation in Jerry Jones's tenure, it's about the financial side. It's about the business side. It's about the brand, if you will. But when you used to talk about the Cowboys and innovation, you were talking about the shotgun. You were talking about the doomsday defense. You were talking about stuff that the rest of the NFL had to figure out. You ain't seen that since. Your new leaders of the NFL, unfortunately, the brainchilds, if you will, of the league, the innovators of the league, unfortunately, aren't a part of our franchise. And I think that's honestly what kind of tripped up Dan Quinn is I think he was trying to create a new wave and movement that you see, because one of the first things he did when he got here was he picked up Keanu Neal, and he said he wanted to use him more in a linebacker role. So he was trying to create more of a hybrid type system. And to an extent, it will work. It is complementary when your offense can get off to a great start and get a lead. And now you can push your defense to pin their ears back and take advantage of the offense who is trying to come from behind and throw the ball heavily. So yes, he was trying to do that. But the unfortunate part is when your offense don't match your fly, you end up looking like the number 10 out here. One is slim and trim, and the other is plumping around. It don't mesh, it don't mix.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way to be able to make our strength stronger. And when I say that, the best way to strengthen your offense
Weapons.
is by improving your defense.
Bingo. Weapons. Let that leaves, and we got about 22 minutes left. And I know we'll spend this time.
I love that number.
Yeah, let's close it out with the real divide in Cowboy land.
Okay.
That's one Dak Prescott.
Oh.
And his contract.
It's hot.
All right. Now we'll close it out on this. Here's the facts, y'all. He's an all-pro quarterback.
Yep.
He's one of the best in the league. There's only one other quarterback that was all-pro, and that was Lamar Jackson. I understand we didn't get nowhere. I understand we lost the playoff game. I understand all that. I do. I understand it. You're telling the truth before y'all even type it in. But the other part you got to say, if you're going to tell the whole story, he's an all-pro quarterback. He's gotten better every single year. I don't know if he's hit his ceiling yet. I know he didn't do well in the playoffs, but he's an all-pro quarterback. All-pro quarterbacks demand big money. And he's in line because of the way he structured his contract, or his agent did. Here are the other facts. Because a lot of people say, Dak is an all-pro quarterback, MG. Second team all-pro. Those are facts you can't deny. He is an all-pro quarterback this year. AP, wasn't no fans vote. These are what the writer said. So he's an all-pro quarterback. Here is the problem. Whoever his agent was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Time came, and this was the time. Here is what it was.
Right back at the table.
No trade clause. Number one. Can't get traded unless he approves the trade.
Correct.
Number two, his cap hit is $54 million, which forces the Cowboys that they have to extend him this year, because if you don't, you ain't gonna have no money for nothing, because he gonna eat up the cap. Again, let me say it one more time. No trade clause. If you cut him, you got to pay him his money. So your three ways of getting rid of him are really non-existent, because you're not going to do it. You have to extend him this year and get the cap right, so you can go get all these other folks that me and Amp may have talked about today, and re-sign some of your players. Those are the facts. I know some of y'all don't like him, but he and that agent saw something years down the road, because y'all cried about $40 million. Okay? Now he comes, and now he has to have, there it is, I'm sorry, $59.5 million cap.
Round it up to 60.
Good God, 60. You have no choice but to extend them. But here's the question, Amp, because he ain't going nowhere. Okay, we already figured that out. Is Dak going, since he knows this little window with the guys he got now is closing, and I'm quite sure Dak want to stay competitive, is he going to want to be the highest paid player in history? Or is he going to do somewhat of a discount? Now, let's be honest. The starting price is wherever Justin Herbert is. Because Justin Herbert ain't won nothing. He ain't done nothing.
Nathaniel.
Ain't won nothing, ain't done nothing. Now, I think he's second or third on the list now. at 54. Let me go and make it even worse for y'all. Jalen Hurts ain't done nothing. I understand he went to the Super Bowl, but you saw him this year. We don't care nothing about no one-hit wonders. He ain't done nothing. You want some more? Deshaun Watson. Please, don't starve with me. The starting price, yeah. I'm almost that starting price, ladies and gentlemen, is whatever Justin Herbert's guaranteed money was.
Yeah,
his yearly salary. That is the starting point because he's better than Justin Herbert. So we talking $53-54 million. My question to you, Amp, is he gonna take somewhat instead of $60 million a year? Is he gonna take 53, 54?
Honestly and truthfully, I believe he will, and I'm gonna tell you why. I believe he will because this is his third contract. You had your rookie deal. He was making pennies. He was doing us a super solid them first 4 years while he was here, and then he got tagged, and then he got tagged again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So you
can't tag him no more. Let's throw that in. Can't tag him no more.
Tapped out on the tag, so that's done. So considering this is his third, and knowing kind of what it takes, I mean, the man has already established and earned not only wealth for himself, but you're talking about generational wealth. I mean, he's in Dallas. You see the endorsements. You know, he's with Jordan. He's got the Campbells, the Sleep Number. I mean, the list goes on, right? So he definitely ain't hurting now. See, when he made that first deal, it was like, hey, you're going to get me right for what you did to me. I think that was more of a payback type deal. I'm going to make him feel it. So with that being said, I think he wants to be around the top, but he ain't trying to be the top. You're going to respect him. You're going to pay him like you respect him as being an all-pro quarterback. Even if you want to say second tier, even if you don't want to give him the top tier, you don't want to put him in the category with Mahomes. Still, second tier requires about 50.
And the bottom line is, I don't mean to cut you off, but he deserved more than Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert. That's just the bottom line, man. Yeah. That's just the bottom line. He deserves more than that. Somebody put in and say Dak ain't never done nothing. Well, he done more than Justin Herbert.
I'm gonna tell you what Dak Prescott has done. What Dak Prescott has done is he has been consistent in doing something that no quarterback has done since Troy Aikman, and that's keep your team relevant year in and year out. Now, has he made it to the level that we wanted him to as far as the postseason is concerned? No, he hasn't. We all acknowledge that. We all are on one accord as far as that topic is concerned. But you cannot negate what he has done in the regular season. You cannot negate what he has done in the NFC East. You cannot negate what the man comes in, he does his job to the best of his abilities every day. You don't see him caught up in any drama. You see he has a great rapport with his teammates.
The bottom line is it's a total body of work.
It ain't just him.
It just ain't playoffs.
But you know what the problem is every time? The fans.
Oh,
see,
God.
when you look at the two players who are getting the most blame this year, it's the fans' fault. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you look at the game, when you're looking on offense, who are your eyes on? Who is the camera on? It's on the quarterback. When you're looking at the defense, who are your eyes looking for? Well, Diggs has been hurt all year, so the next sexiest player is Parsons. You see him. The camera zoom in. You know, so you see him game in and game out. But can people really tell me how all of the other 10 players on each respective side of the ball did as well as they do Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons? The answer is absolutely not.
Nope.
And you don't watch film.
Yeah.
Because there are guys who are doing far worse jobs, getting paid a hefty amount of money that you don't have a problem with being on this roster. That's the problem. And let me spread that thing out.
Let me add to that something that because Cowboy fans in particular and the Cowboy haters, let me tell you something. The NFL has a different view of Dak Prescott than the fans do.
Say it.
That is really the truth, y'all. They think Dak is one of those type of guys. Now, all these type of guys don't win the Super Bowl every year.
It be your own people.
I'm telling y'all, that's why he was voted All Pro this year. If we listen to the fan base, you wouldn't even put him in the Pro Bowl.
Nope.
But the NFL writers and people know exactly what time it is with this guy. This guy is, and I've criticized him many a time. But one thing you can't deny, he keep doing this. He don't go down. He keep climbing the ladder. I don't know if his ceiling is here, but his ceiling climbed another notch this year. So I'm just saying, from his rookie year all the way up until this present moment, you can't do nothing but say it's went up. It ain't go down. His quarterback play has went up. He is considered this season, whether you like it or not. And I understand who's playing in the Super Bowl this coming up weekend. I understand that. But he's considered this year a top 5 quarterback in this league. No question about it. And when you're one of those guys, to go back to what we just asked, he deserves his money. And that's just the bottom line. You can't tell me that Josh Allen, who ain't done nothing either, and see, that really messed y'all up. Josh Allen ain't done all them turnovers he got. And y'all go crazy if Dak just throw one. Josh Allen is a turnover machine.
Kirk Cousins keep getting contracts.
Come on, y'all. Y'all ain't saying nothing about Josh Allen. Y'all like because he got them rah-rah ESPN players.
And Baker Mayfield, who you might consider to be lower tier than Dak, even he is demanding at least 40 from what reports are saying. So if he's demanding at least 40, do you not put Dak above Baker Mayfield? Come on, what we doing here, Cowboys fans?
Come on now.
Make it make sense.
So it really don't make no difference. Y'all, I hate to be bad and all that because I'm really not like that. But to be honest with y'all, it really don't make no difference what y'all say.
He getting paid.
He getting paid.
That's the only way for us to go all in.
He not getting traded.
If he don't get paid, then that means you have less money available this year, and you can't go out and get those free agents.
You can't trade him.
Whatnot that you're trying to get. So
you can't trade him because he has the power to say yay or nay. You can't franchise tag him. You got to get money off the book so you can go pay these players for this year. He's going to get paid. He's about to get paid. It was brilliant.
Made. He's about to get paid.
And that's just the bottom line. So we might as well get used to it. All y'all that cried over $40 million, go on buy your tissue now. Because he's really about to get paid now. Ain't no sense of crying. Look, go on cry now. Go on cry now. He could get $60 million, Metris. But I don't think, me and Amp kind of agree, because of where the Cowboys are, with players getting ready to either retire or they're getting a little long in the tooth, I really do believe he's getting ready to do somewhat of a little small discount in favor to let them do what they need to be. I really believe.
I'm going to tell you, Jesse Holly ain't going to be able to say he's selfish.
Thank you. Me and Emma ain't got the pause yet. You see what I'm saying? We got another whole section of.
I'm gonna have to come back.
Y'all got to come back. I got to bring Emma back, and we're going to talk about this. We done missed at least 5 or 6 things. This is what the Dallas Cowboys are. They are the gift that keeps on giving. And there's plenty to talk about. We ain't got to the draft yet, y'all. We got a show coming. It's the long.
And I don't call it off season. No. I would just say this is we got a long time between now and April.
Look,
we got a long time between.
We don't have a whole show on whoever this defensive coordinator is.
Yep.
When the defensive coordinator come in, we talking. We got to talk about it, see what's about to happen. When Dak get his extension, look, we sure enough gonna be talking then, because I'm sure to have about 300 people in here just hating right off the top. So there's plenty to go on that, and we getting ready to close out in these last 7 minutes or so. Thanks to everybody. Do us a favor one more time, y'all. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's there, I need about 10 to 12 likes if you're on Facebook If you're on YouTube, same thing with on those of you that are watching on Amp's channels. If you're on YouTube, hit that heart button. Everybody give us about 10 to 12. Just smash it. I just did it about in less than 3 seconds. Just smash it real quick. We appreciate you guys hanging with us, but y'all guys have been consistent there. I've been looking at the numbers the whole time. This is a pretty good, group that's here. I know everybody not gonna agree. Everybody gonna have their way of making the teams better, but your way gotta make some sense.
Yes, sir.
You just can't see cutting Dakota Prescott. That ain't making no sense at all, ladies and gentlemen. Trey Lance on the field does not make sense at all, unless you look. If you got Trey Lance on the field, and this is just hypothetical. If it was Trey Lance, you better be spending that money on the guys that we were talking about earlier to surround him with all that he needs. You got to spend the money then. If you're going to do Trey Lance or somebody like that, you better be spending the money elsewhere. But when you got Dak, what we're in Amber's trying to say, and the evidence is there, y'all, that there are other organizations who have these quarterbacks and they still get the other guys. You can't tell me you can't get it done. Maybe Stephen Jones need to go to the other schools that these other general managers do, know how to manipulate the salary cap. Something like that. Maybe that's what it is. Because I'm tired of the excuses. Get it done as Am said earlier, if you're all in. if you're all in. Yeah. My dad on here. Hey, Dad, I see you, man. My dad on here. I ain't know you hang with me, man. Got quiet on me, too. Daddy just show up at the end. Yeah, look at him, man. Hey, Daddy, I see you. My father's here, man. I appreciate it.
That's a beautiful thing.
Oh, man. Amp, tell everybody where they can find you and give me your, I guess, look, I hate to borrow from Boss, but give me your final word.
So, look, I'm going to wrap it up for you. It's very simple. It is a 4-step process. You want to be successful next year? The first thing you do is extend Dak Prescott. And then you bring in a defensive coach who is going to be consistent at stopping the run. And you have to make a commitment to be able to run the ball next year. After you do those 1, 2, 3 things, the next and final thing you got to do, above all, is you've got to bring the physicality and you have to be mentally tough. It's just that simple. Now, you can embellish and get into the details and nuances and all that good stuff. But if you're truly going all in, the process has to be the way I laid it out, in the way that I laid it out, and no stray from it. I'm also going to challenge the fans, those who have been critical of this team, those who have been critical to Dak Prescott, who are able to point out every single flaw that he does. I'm going to challenge you, people like MG. I have no problem with you pointing out the flaws. But what I do have a problem with is people who point out the flaws and don't have the solutions. So if you see where an individual is falling short, you're just going to let them sit there. You're just going to let them fall. You're not going to help them up. So I challenge you, as we alluded to, it's a long time between we playing football again. So guess what? We got plenty of time to dive in this, talk about other topics of conversation. So I challenge you, where you see him fall short, help him out and help us out and find solution of ways to make him better. Because one way or another, he's going to be on this team this year and for the immediate foreseeable future. You can find me on all social platforms at Amp Sports, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, X, Facebook. I want to thank Big Time for allowing me on to share my thoughts about our team while we're going through this
rehab
session, if you will, rehab, because we're still experiencing trauma. So y'all keep the faith, keep your head high, and let's continue to press forward to find solutions for our team.
All right, real quick, and I'm not going to add nothing to it. Y'all know where I am. Y'all found me here. What I need everybody to do, those that follow me, I need everybody to follow Amp on his channels. and here it is, right here. Go ahead and follow him there, and Amp Sports at Twitter at Amp Sports. Amp Sports One, YouTube Amp Sports. Follow him there, and let's just build a family. This will not be Amp's last time. We always do magic time together. Shoot, he may need to come back, and so we can finish this little thing out. Monday, I will be with you. Amp, stay on with me just in case at the end when I get everybody out of here and we can talk some more. Monday, it's my birthday, y'all. Monday.
Oh, Aquarius season.
Yeah, so Monday, I will be with you on my birthday. I need everybody to come and celebrate with me.
It's a party, y'all.
We might as well talk even some more. And we're going to talk to Amp again because we got to finish this up. And see what's going on because we still got plenty to talk about, as you can tell. Yeah, this was a great show as usual, and I appreciate y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Everybody knows where to find me: YouTube, The Big Time Show, X, whatever, at Big Time Lou, Twitch, Big Time _73, Facebook, The Big Time Show again, and you'll be able to find me there. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate everybody. Amp, hang with me just for a second. I ain't gonna even do no music. Look at that, Amp. You gonna make me buy one of those? I feel like Ric Flair. I'm embarrassed that you coming on my show, embarrassing me because I ain't got nothing.
It's
like
my
that.
Signature, man.
It's gonna be mine because I gotta get it. I promise you that. I appreciate y'all. We out of here.